Thank you all for tuning in again to the Life After podcast. Gonna do things a little different today, but we still gonna honor those heroes that walk amongst us every day. But on this day, this is a very joyous day for me. It's my 46th birthday, and I'm being very honored and very grateful right now to give you all a piece of who I am. And what better way to introduce myself to my audience, future subscribers, family, friends, and all, than my great friends, Chris Byrne and Jesse Gardena.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm Jesse, and I'm a aspiring actor, recovery spoken word artist, and hopefully a future addiction counselor.
And I'm Chris Brem. I work in the addiction recovery community. I'm a father, I'm a son, I'm a friend. Happy birthday, LINWARD.
Appreciate it.
That's a big day. Like LINWARD was saying, we're going to do things a little bit different today. Some of you guys may have seen me before on this show. We've shared this space together before. But I'm going to take a little bit of time here, and I'm going to interview the interviewer today. We're going to kind of just get to know LINWARD a little bit. Some of you guys may not know him from outside of these podcasts, so we're going to give you guys a chance to learn a little bit about him.
Alrighty.
Why don't you start where you want to start? Tell us about what makes you you.
Oh man, what makes me me? Oh man, that's a very complex question right there. I think this life, this journey, being comfortable with what you're doing and not offending nobody is pretty much the realms of what I'm supposed to be doing in life. Long as I'm building community with whatever gift I got, or just being present for family and being present for yourself, and building and inspiring community. That's pretty much who I am. I'm from Southwest Georgia. I was born to teenage parents down in Pelham, Georgia, and I always been into the arts. I always had a passion for books like Oliver Twist and books that kind of related to growing up in the ghetto. Okay. And I always use those visuals as a pathway. And so I just been continuing to just grow and nurture that pathway, through the arts right now. Some people might know me as PL from the block, when I was young, I was always a diehard baseball fan and thought I would go to the league playing baseball. But basketball, football, I played also, but baseball was my heart. I had my first kid at the age of 17, and that kind of woke me up to reality, at an early age, and so I feel like I wasn't, I robbed my own self of, the real production I can do in life. But I realized now that God makes no mistakes, so I'm happy about that situation. And right now, I just try to inspire people, man. I try to inspire people through the arts, just helping, volunteering, just being that. Being that man, being that father, being that neighbor, just, being that person in the community.
Okay. So what was it like growing up in Southern Georgia? What was your childhood like?
Yeah, that's what
My childhood was lit, man. Now that I see that the PBS station has, picked up, some work that I had a chance to, also alongside Jesse, had a chance to put my neighborhood, Brim Street, Culpeper Homes to be exact, housing project, to be able to put it on a pedestal and realize that my childhood wasn't as bad as some of the inner cities in the bigger cities and everything, but my childhood was good. I was in Pelham, Georgia, town only about 4,000 people growing up, but it was a thriving town. Once upon a time, had factories and stuff. It had a famous theater there and such, and but times have changed. Those corporations have moved from the small towns and moved overseas, so it's kind of left, those areas desolate right now. So they kind of really looking like ghost towns when I go back home right now. So that's one of the reasons why I'm up here, because it's hard to find motivation once all you see is like what could have been, right? Remnants of what could have been in that area. So but growing up young, Pelham, Georgia, I mean, it was lit, a small town. We had the Pelham Pirates, baseball team that was pretty well known along the Chitlin circuit, in the South. And
What's the Chitlin circuit?
the Chitlin circuit,
Yeah.
that's if Chitlin circuit was
Gotta be a
renamed.
Southern thing.
Yeah.
No, actually, it's a northern thing. The Chitlin circuit really comes from. If you ever seen Gone with the Wind, you ever seen Gone with the Wind?
Yeah.
Okay, but you remember when the North defeated the South? Okay, you had the carpetbaggers. They would come and rip off people that didn't, in the South that was trying to recover from, just trying to recover from Civil War, and so that circuit that they made going from New York all the way down over to Mississippi and Louisiana, it was called later on the Chitlin circuit because.
Okay.
Like a lot of times, black people were pretty much open to create after the Civil War, so they were putting their stamps close to the carpetbaggers. But the carpetbagger was just, using the Negro to come along, so they just named the leftovers with the Chitlin circuit. So that's where that pretty much come from right there. But yeah, definitely, just growing up, small town, teenage parents, I didn't know that. I could really, have a voice out there. I thought you had to really be famous to have a voice.
Yeah, it's hard.
You had to be a special athlete to have a voice growing up. But learning, just traveling and seeing people that really want to help people. Like the first episode with you, Chris, that's what really inspired me to do this podcast. Just the heroes that the heroes that are walking amongst us. People that we don't acknowledge, like the bus driver that does cinematography in his part-time, or the teacher that teaches, dance class part-time, sacrificing time with her family, that energy and seeing that, that's what makes me tick, and that what motivated my podcast,
Yeah.
Definitely.
So what made you choose now to start getting into acting and sort of reinventing yourself? What inspired all this?
I don't know, when you just said that, I don't know, I guess it's just my ADHD helping me out right now. But when you said that, I just thought about, do you remember In Living Color?
Yeah.
I don't know, I just had a Fire Bill, a Fire Marshal Bill moment.
Yeah.
It's like when Fire Marshal Bill would be like, okay, he had 1 or 2 accidents, then he'll come out like, nah, that's not enough. Like, then he'll go blow himself up again, So I feel like my story pretty much is a late developer, but it's never late when it's on God's timing. So I just felt like I had to really go through a lot of things, like we kind of talked about earlier. I had to have a lot of more experiences. I had to have more testimony. So I can have more word. Because like the word says, how do they make it over? By the testimony of their words. So I feel like I had a few more testimonies in me. God felt that I was built enough to go, make it out of that trap, or make it out of that dope house, or make it out of that, that bad affair, or make it out of that addiction situation. So I can spread the word and let people know that we can do this through art and visualization.
Yeah, exactly. I see that sometimes, like the trials and tribulations that we have to go through are exactly what makes the story all the more better.
Definitely.
You know what I mean?
Definitely.
The things that we've had to persevere and overcome are just immense.
Yes.
And sometimes it resides in mainly us.
Yes.
That internal struggle that we have to get past. And once we get past it, then you start to hit this shine level.
Well, and I think that kind of makes everybody, that's their superpower.
Yeah.
Is taking their experiences, their lived experiences, and using it for good. It's like I couldn't be in my position professionally had I not been an addict. Yeah. If I wasn't an addict, if I hadn't gone through recovery and been in long-term recovery at this point,
Yes.
So
Definitely.
Speaking of recovery, do you want to talk a little bit about your addiction and how that started and where that kind of comes into play?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, let's hear a little bit of the comeback story.
That's right.
Yeah, comeback.
America's built on comeback stories, y'all.
Definitely. I definitely got quite a few of those, man.
Yeah.
But I was never, into hard drugs. Like I said, earlier, I, just probably started, dabbling in a little marijuana around the age of 13, 14. And, just my older brother, he was just a couple years older than me. And, it ran heavily down there, and, for it to be a small town. But yeah, we still right there by the Gulf of Mexico. We're just an hour and a half from the Gulf of Mexico, right there by Florida. So, we pretty much was, in that, that cocaine cowboy area growing up with the farmers and, things like that. So a lot of things were often flooded, but it still doesn't make it right. You know what I'm saying? But, I was smoking a little weed, stealing a little marijuana from my brother's stash, older brother's stash, and things of that nature. And, I might have dabbled in, little pills every now and then, and might have tried a little coke, did a little coke, just blend in with the crowd, just to keep up with the excitement for the moment. But it was never my thing. Like, I never liked it, anything outside of marijuana. So I would say probably 2000 COVID. Well, shortly before COVID, I was injured at a job. I was working in Georgia, and I was injured, and things just started to go downhill for me, and couldn't deal with the meds and that they were giving me. I never was a pill taker, and things like that. So I started dabbling to what people call it as Molly, but it's really APV 40, which is like a mixture of Molly and also methamphetamine, and things like that. So it's something that, is big down south, and things like that. And, I pray for the area, people that are dealing with the APV and the Molly epidemic down south. And I became addicted because I wasn't working. I was injured, and, I couldn't work. And, it brought a sense of feeling back to my body. But it also, it was killing me mentally. And down south, you're not saying we don't have resources to get help, but it's like when you on drugs down south, it's like it's a close-knit community. So, people kind of look down on you. Yeah. So, I was grateful to not be around my family like that when I was addicted. But at my highest peak of addiction, I can remember where I was putting myself, like, I wouldn't say that I was getting the same reflex that everybody else get, you know what I'm saying? That was just getting high to go party and stuff. And I was getting high to forget, you know what I'm saying? I was getting high to escape this pain. I was getting high to, get over these headaches, over my neck, over, you know what I'm saying? And things like that. So once I became addicted to that, became full blown, it was about a 3 to 4 year addiction. And the places that it took me in, I can only pray and go back and pull somebody up, things like that. So, but it's also called Flocka. APV is also called Flocka. So, I just pray for people that are dealing with that drug. And there was a time that came through when they were starting to mix it when fentanyl really first hit. They was mixing it with fentanyl.
Really?
And actually, I give glory to God that I actually got hold of some. And, actually it did a little damage, you know what I'm saying? And it swept through Southwest Georgia and North Florida. Like, actually, even during within 4 days, I OD'd on it. Actually, my cousin, he wasn't so lucky. Rest in peace to my cousin, T-Dog. He wasn't so lucky. And the same week, Shock G from Digital Underground, he was just 3 hours away. I'm quite sure the same package. It was the same mixture of stuff, just swept up from South Florida up to Georgia. He died within the same week. And a couple more people I know. And that point was a starting point for me mentally to change. Like, okay, are you going to continue to do this and you know what's out there now? Yeah. Or are you going to wise up, man, and live, your true calling?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I had a bit of the same experience around basically the same time. I was in a car accident. Similar thing, man. Like prescription pain pills was like the first in to hard, drugs and stuff like that. And I thought, it's prescribed, so it's okay. The doctor, the doctor gave it. Yeah, right. Who knows better than the doctor? But then once that prescription runs out, then you start. I didn't know withdrawal was a real thing until then. I thought it was something that only heroin users experienced and stuff like that. And then, it just kind of escalated for myself and it kind of spiraled out. And like you said, man, like the pain of like me losing my custody of my child
Yes.
and being in this car accident, like
Right.
I was searching for all types of escapism,
Definitely.
you know?
And and when you think about it, it's like, you know, it was like I was chasing those moments that were fleeing.
Yeah.
You know, I got injured doing the right thing. You know what I'm saying? I got injured going to work, injured doing the right thing. You know, I felt like I was losing everything because I was doing the right thing. But then I was doing the wrong thing to chase those moments and relive those moments, you know?
Yeah.
So that's what that drugs, I mean, that's what APV, Molly, that's what it does. It keeps you in that loop mentally, you know, keep chasing, you know, pretty much like any hard narcotic out there. But it's hope at the end of the road. And not saying I'm at the end of the road, but, you know, I was at the peak of my addiction and I realized that it was something else. And I got a message from a good friend of mine, Pastor Jimmy Battle down in Georgia. I was on my way to Atlanta and I had a flat tire. And I was like, man, who can I call at this time, 12 o'clock at night? Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm at the peak of my addiction. I really don't want people to see me. You know, I'm just sliding through town. So I called Jimmy up and he came with him and his boys and, you know, they just came and just took care of me and just made sure everything was straight, just, you know, but he was like, you know, he called me, everybody know me by Pernell, like home versus LINWARD, you know, so he was like, Pernell, I don't know I don't know what I can do to help you now, what to give you, but he just said, God told me to tell you just right. So it was freezing that night. I remember it was freezing. I'm halfway hungry, coming out off a high, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I'm like, I need materials, you know what I'm saying? I need substance, you know what I'm saying? So you know the flesh side of me was, you know, mentally selfish, but I know this person seeks God, you know, is a good friend of mine, and so when he gave me that message to write, I was like, okay, well, who am I write to? You know what I'm saying? You know, the library, you know, like what library is only probably the size of this half of this warehouse. That's the biggest attraction for its resources, you know what I'm saying? Things like that. So the next day I was walking and I seen a notebook on the ground. And the notebook,
Really?
it's a brand new notebook. And it was open to the first page.
The signs of God.
And it was a pen stuck right there, boom. And everybody was walking away from this notebook, like just walking over, like didn't try to step on, just walking like just moving to the side of it. And I walked right up on it and I picked it up and I started writing on it, you know. And I kept it for a while and I just started writing what I see and what I feel and conversations I'm hearing, you know what I'm saying? So I just been, ever since then, I just been writing and look and behold, you know, I'm writing my first short film, you know what I'm saying? And which I'm so grateful that you lending a hand and both of you all lending a hand, you know, helping me, you know, with the basis foundation and, you know, just being there doing the playwrights for me and, you know, pushing it and, you know, believing in my project, you know. So I'm grateful, you know, things do, you know, just hold out and just, you know, make yourself available, make yourself present, you know.
Yeah,
You know, trouble don't
100%.
last always and, you know, just know that help is out there.
Yeah.
You know, it's help out there. You know, no matter what field you're in, what you're going through, what position in life you are, help is out there, man.
Absolutely.
Just reach out, man.
I mean, it's one of those situations where if you show up for yourself, things will happen.
Yeah. That's
right.
You know, always. I've never not seen that happen.
Definitely.
So what was early recovery like for you when you decided to that you were at that point?
I would say early recovery for me would be early recovery was kind of a joke. You know, down in Florida, down in Georgia, you know what I'm saying? You know, shout out to the resource systems because there are some great people that work down there in addiction recovery, South Georgia, North Florida, but they kind of far and few. You know, they kind of in Georgia, it was an institution called Georgia Pines that was closed down, and it had over thousands of clients. You know, like they had their own. It's basically their own city, town.
Right.
You know, and to have that closed down, I remember when the Georgia Pines closed down, and I remember seeing the people flooding the streets of Thomasville, Georgia, the same place where Charlie Ward is from. Okay. Actually, the center is right across from Charlie Ward Boulevard, from where his house is. He lived right across from where they closed the facility down there. Yeah. So Yeah, I can remember seeing that. It was like a apocalypse. Like my first time seeing a southern, apocalypse type vision.
Yeah.
You know, just seeing all
It
those
was
people,
really like that. Just people flooding
people
the
out.
streets.
Yeah, they just put half of them in, put a lot of them in jail. Just put them in holding places. Just
Yeah.
and rest just flocked out. You know, just and
Wow.
and it was a mess. And I think that contributed to the new drugs, the hard drugs, really just what I'm saying, just really taking a toll down there. But the resources down there, to answer your question, are far and few, but they are there. You really got to want it. When a person is fed up, a person is fed up. But nothing compared to Minnesota as far as getting help and getting the type of help you need and bettering yourself. In recovery.
So what got you to Minnesota?
What got me to Minnesota was I had $450 left out of my disability check, and I'm just,
Caught a bus ticket.
Yeah, I'm just being honest, man. Tell the truth, shame the devil, man.
Yeah.
But what got me to Minnesota was my youngest two kids live here. I live up the road in Fritley, and just coming to here visit, visiting my kids, and
So connection was what brought you to Minnesota mainly?
yeah, mainly my youngest two kids. Shout out to Jacob and my daughter Ariana, and I was coming up here to visit them, and just cruising through the Twin Cities, and just just having a breath of fresh air, leaving the South, and just leaving everything I had, been going through. I had just started by walking from my injury.
Yeah.
I was just starting to get on my feet walking and starting to get healthy again. So, I actually came up here with a cane.
Yeah, I remember when I met you, you had a
Yeah,
cane
yeah.
around a lot. And I
Yeah.
was like, who's this guy?
Yeah, definitely. So
Get off my lawn and stuff.
yeah. But definitely I just visiting them and just seeing the energy here and just seeing the vibrant feel. Even though it was wintertime, I still felt that the vibrancy of this. Is that a word? Vibrancy?
It is today.
It is.
Yeah.
It is what you make it.
But just just feeling the vibe of the city.
Yeah.
And what really made me think what am I gonna do with my life? How am I gonna survive off of $1,800 a month disability? What am I gonna do? I can't work hard no more. What am I gonna do? I only know blue collar right now. So after coming and riding down Hennepin, I remember it was a cold Tuesday afternoon. It's kind of drizzling snow. I don't even know what it was. Icicles. I don't know what it was, but it was cold and miserable. And
Sleeting.
Yeah, sleeting. And I just remember people lined up at these theaters,
Oh, yeah?
wrapped around for blocks. You know what I'm saying? Just wrapped around for blocks. I'm like, man, who's in concert tonight? I'm thinking I didn't know no better, so I'm just not noticing that all these buildings on Hennepin are theaters, different theater companies. So, and I was asking the guy, I was like, hey man, who's in town? This normal right here. This is theater district. People love to see them plays and stuff, and you got a story to tell. You going to make some money, you'll be all right. But not saying for the money sense, but just I remember that, and I stumbled up on community play on Zamia.
Yeah.
I walked in on a Zamia workshop, and
The same sleeting winter night?
No, not that night. Probably a week or two after. Week or two after, I went in there and just walked in. You know how they doing the games and stuff, and inviting community. So I like the energy, and I started. They asked me to do a spoken word. One of my poems got to Myron. Myron's read one of my poems, and she was like, "Hey, Lynnward, you mind sharing something? We having this program, blase, blase, So I was like, "Sure, yeah." So I actually went to see one of their performances, and I'm like, man, this is what I want to do. Just doing the spoken word part, not being a part of the actual play, just made me man, I can express myself, and people are gravitating to it, and gravitating in a way, it allowed me to release my stress and let me know that I'm not the only one going through it, and some people need you to speak up for them. So you need to tell, that's why I love writing. I love listening to people because I can tell their journey. Everybody got a story to tell. But if I can help you get to that moment and push you, what I'm saying? I'm more comfortable than letting my voice be out there, because I'm still doing the job, you know. So I think that's my gift, the gift of encouragement. So
Yeah, it is.
But just seeing those people and like, man, people really make a living, and I'm just doing my background. Like, man, this person make this much doing theater. You know, like, man, I don't have to go to school. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can bring what's inside of me, leave it on this microphone, and it can create a, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A residual effect of great, you know, of great energy and great, what can I say? Any goal that I said, or any testimony, any
The power of example.
Yeah, the power of example and parallel testimonies. Like, you know, like, man, and got connected with 825 Arts, you know, did a couple of things at a couple of programs they had there, and it's been history ever since then. You know, so, you know, I'm just staying busy, steady writing, obeying the man of God, you know, obeying the word of God, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
It was you that brought me into this whole cuff when we met each other through, you know, a recovery meeting.
Right.
And this man right here next to me was like, "Hey, can you come and read something at a Zamia workshop?" And I'm like, "What is Zamia? What are you talking about?" And he's like, "I need somebody to read a script. I'm trying to sell something and stuff." And I was like, "All right, I'll give it a shot." And man, now they can't get rid of me. I'm there always, and it's because of you and the pushing of like Marn and Esther and everybody else that's behind the scenes that has gotten me to flourish and blossom, you know, a little bit.
That,
you know what I mean? I'm on my beginning journey, and I owe that because of you paying it back and seeing you as the example. That I knew that you know, this whole recovery thing, this whole reinvention of oneself is a possibility if you just give it a chance. You know what I mean?
Yes, definitely. And you definitely give it that a chance, man. And I appreciate you brothers so much, man. Like, y'all seem to just always with love and admiration, it's just through the roof every time, man. I link up with you all, man. But just you. I really don't still believe that you just started acting, man. I believe I just don't, you know what I'm saying?
Hey,
I don't believe
that's like the telltale sign of a great actor.
Yeah.
You can't tell he's been doing, he's acting, right? Isn't that?
I believe you're holding back, man, because this guy doesn't like, man, I struggled with, what was the art shanties?
The art shanties that we had.
This man probably had 3 pages, you know what I'm saying? And I struggle with 6 lines. And he got 3 pages like it ain't nothing, man. Like, we out there with -19.
Oh, man, it was freezing cold on a frozen lake.
Man, and
slipping everywhere.
Man, this guy doesn't miss a beat, man, but he keeps me for his, you know, acting and, you know, poetry. Like, he's a dope poet, man. Like, he would say things like, you know, his poems, like, you don't really want to talk to nobody for at least 3 or 4 minutes. Like, you want to let it sink in. Like, you know, he can really get in depth. And I'm just so proud of you, man. Just, you know, everything you're doing, man, since the day we met, man. And everything we said that we was going to accomplish, we doing that and more. You know what I'm saying? And we steady not being too comfortable, because we know who's working out. We know who's jogging. What you know? I mean, we know that black bear is jogging. So you know, and that's why I like working with you, man. And I mean, you've been a great friend. You and Chris, man, you all are always there when I need need you all, and I pray I can be there more when you all need me.
Oh, you have been.
No,
you have been. You've been.
Absolutely.
I appreciate
all the time.
You know, we had a meeting the other day. We were all, and I told you guys both. It's like, I thank you guys so much for letting me be a part of your recovery.
Yes.
And I thank you guys for both being a part of mine.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, I will die on the hill that the opposite of addiction is connection.
Yes.
You know, and it's not just connection to other people or places or careers or communities, but it's also a connection to yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, and I've known you guys for a little while now, and I've seen kind of how you move in the recovery community and in your own recovery and stuff. And you guys impress me. You know, because I mean, there's been tough times. I've had struggles. We've all had struggles.
Yeah.
But the way that you guys have navigated those things and kind of tiptoed through the landmines that are out there
Yes.
and not been afraid to be connected.
Yes.
Because I mean, as a male these days, it's vulnerable, you know.
Yeah.
To be
Definitely.
connected. And vulnerability is not a bad thing. But there's a stigma that goes with it from a long time ago, you know,
Right, that's
being
right.
vulnerable and surrendering and those kind of words.
Right.
They hold that oh, that's, you know, what a, you know, what's wrong with him
Right.
kind of
Yeah.
thing, you know. But you guys weren't never afraid to ask for help or reach out for help or say, hey, this happened. I'm not proud of it, but this happened.
Well, I don't know about not afraid. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Well,
It came over time.
But you overcame whatever
Yeah.
fear there was.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
For the greater good. You knew that, you know what, this might suck for a minute.
Yeah.
But it's gonna suck a lot worse if I don't
Yeah, no,
say
absolutely.
something or do something or work on this or
Right.
ask for the help or you know, whatever stuff. You know.
Absolutely. There was this shift one day, and it had came after I'm just painting a real quick picture. I was at my aunt's, and I had just gotten out of jail, and I'm on the phone with the intake coordinator. Shout out to Mark Hirschberger at Freedom Works.
Good old Mark.
All right, and the guy's all behind the scenes there. But I had called there like 3-4 times, trying to talk my way out of going into, into recovery. And it was something about his voice and like the cadence that he carried about, hey, if you don't do this now, you probably never again in your life. And we're going to be there every step of the way. And a big thing of that also is like CPRS workers like you and the people at People's Inc., Brittany. Man, if it wasn't for this team of people, like every single one of you, especially LINWARD, I don't think I could have done this. Like it seems almost like God sent at times that if you just give it up and have faith into something, it doesn't matter. You can have the tiniest bit of faith. You can borrow faith from your friends. Even though you might not know they're your friends yet, but they're there for you.
Right.
And that's what I've seen out of Chris. Chris shows us up at times when I've expected him not to. You know what I mean?
Oh,
And
there's been times when I'm driving over there and I'm cussing you guys out.
Yeah, right.
You know, but people showed up for me too.
yeah.
Right.
You know, I wouldn't be where I'm at without somebody showing me.
Yeah.
You know, and a way that I stay clean is by doing what I do, is by helping other people. You know,
Yeah.
There's a line hereditarily in my family of addiction and alcoholism and all that, all that
mine
stuff.
too. Right.
You know,
Definitely.
and somebody has to break that cycle.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
You know,
right.
and it took me 40 plus years for me to say, okay, enough's enough.
Yeah.
But when I did, when I dug my heels in and I said, I don't care what this takes.
Yeah.
I don't care how shitty I feel, pardon my language, but how bad I feel or how sick I get or what I have to do, I will do whatever it takes.
Yeah.
Because I've got children, I've got mothers, I've got a mother, I've got sisters, I've got brothers, I've got friends, and I've got to be something better than I am.
Yeah.
And I knew it was always in there.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
I looked at my addiction was like there was like a fork in the road, and
Yeah.
one of those forks, you look down there and it's all filled, it's all dark and it's filled with brambles and spider
Decay.
webs and rocks and ickies and whatever else. And this other way is sunny and there's butterflies and a rainbow and unicorns all dancing. But I always took that dark, brambly, nasty road.
Yeah.
But that's because I knew it. It was comfortable. I was comfortable in that misery.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
But
easy to be comfortable in the
I knew how
uncomfortable.
to navigate it.
Right.
When I stepped in the brambles and when I got the spider web, when all that, I knew that I knew how to work that.
Yeah, the familiarity of
Right.
everything
I
is
was
just so easy
I was
at
comfortable
times.
in that misery.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Because that's all that I knew. When I started taking that sunny road, like it was uncomfortable at first. It was like, oh, why is this easy? Why is this happening? Why am I getting these things back in my life? You know,
Exactly.
why did it only take 4 months for me to get my license? I thought I'd never drive a car again. legally. You know, why
Never drive you
why does
driving legally.
Well, why is my mom calling me asking me to come over? Because
Yeah.
it used to be where I'd call her and say, hey, I'm coming over, and she'd be, well, give me half an hour, because you know, I come to find out she's hiding her purse and the silverware and, you know, all that shit, so I don't steal it.
Right.
You know.
Awesome.
So it's like then once you start down that road, you never look back. You don't have to look back.
That's right.
No.
So.
And definitely, man. And like you said, you don't have to look back, man. And I want to kind of intervene and, you know, be a little Debo to the interview for a second. But I just want to kind of, since I haven't spoke on this, and, you know, I kind of felt like I didn't have any dogs in the fight, but I just want to share a quick minute before we close out soon. I just got one question. Like, when ICE came to Minneapolis, what was the like first real fear, like this is really happening? Like, the state is actually going to war with the country, you know, basically. You know, like what was the defining moment, like, okay, let me make sure this window lock extra and make sure nobody's out here on the porch. Let me just get a moment to double check things around. Like, where was that defining moment, and where were you all at in the Twin Cities when the war began, as I call it?
Can I say
Go ahead.
just real quick? When Renee Good died, and you know, our friend Tyrese was there in the mix.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the defining moment to me, that this is like gone well above and beyond what it should have been. And I know, like, I don't even need to say that, you know, but seriously, it like, I seen them, I heard people blowing whistles and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And me being a white male, I didn't really understand the full severity of it.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So until I started going around places, and I started seeing people missing from stores, workers not being there, customers not being there, consumers just like, it became desolate. It was almost like COVID all over again.
Yeah, it was. It gave me that feeling. As for me, I was doing a good job of hiding, because I was pretty much down the street with the actual kickoff Cedar.
Yeah.
You know, the actual countdown to Cedar. You know, I'm basically 10th Avenue. That's on basically on the same street.
Right.
But I'm just across the bridge, so I fall under the U of M grid. So I'm still getting, you know, decent, you know what I'm saying? So
Right.
I'm well protected, just that close. So, but it really came to reality to me that was dead serious when, with you, remember the day Alex, you know, Petty was murdered.
Yeah,
We was
yeah.
right there on Nicollet. Remember,
Yeah.
we had a meeting for the Shannies, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
that day. And
Yeah, that was crazy.
on my way there, we just a few blocks away, where they just started blocking the cars off, saying
Yeah.
that Alex was shot. You know, Alex was murdered, and you know, and we were scared because the energy was moving down towards us. We really, we had to.
We were
vacate
seeing
practice.
Humvees and stuff.
Yeah. That's
The National Guard was out. It was crazy.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, oh man, this is turning into a war zone now.
Exactly. And so Esther was like, we're gonna cancel practice. You know,
Yeah.
cancel rehearsals, and everybody head on home.
And
you
nothing
know.
cancels a Zamia workshop or a rehearsal.
Well, I'll make sure she get that.
I'm sorry to laugh, but
Definitely. And I knew it was real then. Transportation was locked. Uber wasn't coming to that area. It
Yeah.
wasn't considered. And we right there in the heart of it. Like, I was stuck. I'm like,
yeah, I couldn't catch the bus home that
couldn't
day.
catch the buses.
Yeah.
If we didn't ride with anybody, it was, you know, it was, you know, it was a real moment then. And after that, the whistles wouldn't stop, like, for days. Like, you know,
Yeah.
just, you know, the whistling and the
I
noise.
was dreaming about whistles.
Yes, man. And, you know, I'm, like I explained on my first episode, I hate that people had to see that side of Minneapolis, because
it was-
Minneapolis is a beautiful place. But how about you, Chris? Well, I mean, when are you?
So for me, it was a little bit different. As you guys both know, like right before that all started happening, was the fraud issue, and because of that, a lot of the Medicare funding in Minnesota was paused,
Oh,
which
yeah,
put
yeah.
me out of a job. Basically,
yeah.
we were
Yes,
furloughed for over a month.
That was a real scare there for a while.
And I just had a child in August.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I've got all these things, and I'm like, oh, what am I going to do?
Yeah,
You
right.
know? But it worked out. You know, it was a short pause. I knew that it was either going to be a very short pause because something was going to get resolved right away,
Right.
or it was going to take forever. So I said, I'm going to give this a month or two and just let it see what happens, because it's either right away or it takes forever when you're dealing with the federal government.
Yeah,
I mean, let's
for
be
sure.
real.
Definitely.
So I got to kind of watch it from the sidelines. What scared me was just the elevation after elevation. It was, ICE is here to do a job, and then the protesters, and then it just they just kept having to get, bigger. It just got more and more and more, and nobody was willing to say, hey, can we figure this out? It was so polarizing that you either were for ICE or against ICE. There was no there was no middle ground. There was no gray area. You're either left or you're right. There's no, you can't be like, say, here's the line between left and right. You can't be right on that line where you can see all the way down the right side.
Exactly.
There was no, you could not.
It was severe opposition time.
There was
Minnesota.
no middle ground. There was no gray area, and that scared me because when there's no communication, when there's no ability to communicate or to compromise or to even show compassion, that's when you lose.
Yes.
That's when you lose the reality or the humanity of it.
Yes.
And that's where we were.
Yes.
And I think it's going to take a while for that to heal. I pray that it does.
Yes.
And I see that it's starting to, but we're still a long ways away from it being back to good.
I thought we were almost on our way to another George Floyd incident. I thought it was going to be like real rioting all over again.
I remember the night that over North Side where that one guy, the ICE officer shot that fugitive.
Yes.
I told my partner, I said, this is gonna be really bad. I said, I thank God that it was as cold as it was, and that it was winter. Because honestly, if it would have been summer, definitely. I think all hell would have broke loose again.
Oh yeah, no, for all of it, definitely. But
thankfully, it was 30 below for like a week and a half straight. Where I sure as hell wasn't going out there.
I'm pretty sure that's why the federal government came in the time that they did and did what they did during the winter, because they knew that, it would play down off of that. Too cold for protesting. But even though, shout out to everybody that did protest, good job, because they were still out there doing what they had to do. So
definitely. And like you said, prayers up for the cities, man. And we're just gonna continue to carry the vision, man, and carry the vibrancy. You know what I'm saying? Of the cities, from here on out, man. But I just want to appreciate you, man. I was kind of frustrated because I couldn't get my shoes in time. But you know what I'm saying? I had some, I got some, some orange and blue flights,
Yeah.
And I'm glad you represent the orange and gray because my New York Knicks, man. I want to represent my Knicks, man. Because we got a hate over here, man. We got a hate over
not
here,
a
man.
hater.
Yeah.
But the Wolves aren't gone yet. Give them tonight.
Yeah, the Wolves got to tighten up, man. Cause Wemby, man. I mean, he's making it a little too easy. But shout out to the New York Knicks, man. I need to say no more about that. Knickerbocker Nation.
Watch me shut this one down.
Yeah.
91 World Series.
Right. Oh, come on, man. Why he gotta do me like this, man? God, this man don't do me like this.
Kirby
man.
Puckett, baby.
Hey, on the last time I was on your show, you had to point out when my college team played Kansas.
Yeah, definitely.
And I had to tell that story. So
but the old Twins, man. I baseball always been my passion, and it's nothing like seeing your favorite sport or growing up, and you watching it with the elders like your granddaddies and your dads and bonding like that, and baseball, and it brought it men in Georgia, the real diehard Braves fans, like they really mourn when the Braves lost. They mourn.
Yeah.
They really mourn.
Well, you guys came back. You guys got your rings though.
Oh yeah, the Braves, the Braves, they keep doing their thing. They always gonna have a good farm system, and but I still want my ring back, man.
We're keeping it.
We need that ring back, man. Man.
Besides the Lynx, that's the last time Minnesota's won a championship, brother.
Right.
The Lynx, yeah.
So
So before we get out of here, what's next for LINWARD then?
What's next for LINWARD, man? LINWARD just gonna continue to, stay motivated, stay focused, man. Stay sober, man. Stay
Stop
building.
being modest. What's on the plate for LINWARD?
Oh, on the plate. Oh, yeah. I know.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, right now we are working on the short film right now.
Yeah. What's it called?
A short film is called A Day in Dinkytown.
Oh, yeah.
You know, yeah. It was written on the edge of the Target boycotts in Minneapolis.
Okay.
And it's ushering in to the beginning of ICE, you know,
Okay.
during that time period. So it's a story, a good motivational story of redemption about a guy that went through the system like so many people have and had a second chance at life. So he's living the life after, you know,
Yeah.
and he's working with a trade through the prison reform, funded through Target, you know,
Yeah.
but, you know, things get cut. So he's having to resort back to his old resources and things like that. But I think it's going to be a great film. It's going to show the talent of the Twin Cities. I got different people working with me. I also got you, you know, working with me on the film, and just I think it's going to exemplify everything that Minneapolis stands for. Like people coming together to, you know, lift their neighbor up. But it's a great story of motivation and really living the life after, you know.
Yeah.
So you know, filming, shooting, you know, we're shooting. First startups in June, so hope to be done by no later than September, so we can catch the fall festival, be ready for November, and that's what LINWARD is shooting for. And continue to invest in his podcast, the best podcast communication studio in the world, Twin City
sir.
Podcast.
Yes, sir.
So you know the great things they're doing. So just continue to build network and community up, man. That's it.
All right. Again, I want to say happy birthday, my friend.
Yeah.
thank you,
Happy
thank you.
birthday, LINWARD.
Appreciate it.
Both
Appreciate
of
it.
you, I am proud of you guys for what you're doing, the work you're putting in.
Yes.
You guys should be proud of yourselves.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
I love you both. You guys are both on my list, and I don't have many friends. I've been that way deliberately,
Yeah.
but you guys are on that list for sure.
I appreciate it, my brother. Appreciate it.
I appreciate you, Chris, because CPRS workers, I couldn't have done it without you guys. You know what I mean? I don't think the resources are out there enough for people to even find help or even know how to look for help.
Yes.
And you guys are the missing link in that
Yes, sir.
whole chain.
That's kind of what I like to call it. It's like when you go to treatment, like an inpatient treatment, and then you go to a sober house, or you know, it's like there's a big something missing in between there. You know, you just
That gap.
28 days, and there you go.
Yeah,
There's-
here you go.
There's the
You're
real
on your
world.
own, buddy.
Yeah.
Bullets are real now.
Get a
again,
job.
You know, bullets are real. Go find
sir.
a house and a
Yeah.
job
Yes,
and a
sir.
car, and you know.
Thank
so
God for
kinda
resources,
just
man.
that somebody that's been through that, that's
Yeah.
navigated that path.
Right.
You know, to just kind of walk with you, not do the work for you by any means, because there's no value. If I do something for you,
Right.
you have no value in it. Like it has no worth to you because it was just given.
Definitely.
But if you put in the reps, you
Absolutely.
put in the work, then it has value for you.
No doubt, no doubt.
But it's somebody that's going to be your biggest fan, your biggest cheerleader. You know, to
see.
walk the walk.
That's
and
everything.
That can gather the resources and advocate and just
everything.
be there.
Right.
Yeah.
That's that connection that we were talking about earlier. You know,
Definitely.
that opposite of addiction is being connected.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't have done it without fellowship and community.
That's it.
Amen.
That's everything. And before we head out of here, we just thank you all for tuning in, you know, my birthday episode, and about to leave here and go hear some good comedy and hopefully find a date.
Yeah.
Well, I got a date. Let me stop. I'm sorry. Oh, she gonna be mad at me. I'm sorry. But anyway, I just want to acknowledge the art. I got this poster right here, this Wu-Tang classic, you know, the Wu, you know.
Protect your neck.
It was given to me by the Hideaway dispensary. Shout out to my blonde friend, Blondie, you know. She got this work for me. She know I was a big Wu-Tang fan, so from the Hideaway
think we
dispensary.
all
So
are.
you know, if you're looking to get your pharmaceuticals the legal way, please come to the Hideaway right here on 4th Street in Dinkytown. But thank you all for tuning in to the Life After Podcast. See you next time.
Bye, y'all.